A rich man sold all that he had and bought a lump of gold, which he buried in a hole in the ground by the side of an old wall he went to look at daily. One of his workmen observed his frequent visits to the spot and decided to watch his movements. He soon discovered the secret of the hidden treasure and, digging down, came to the lump of gold and stole it. The rich man on his next visit found the hole empty and began to tear his hair and to make loud lamentations. A neighbor, seeing him overcome with grief and learning the cause, said, "Pray do not grieve so, but go and take a stone and place it in the hole, and fancy that the gold is still lying there. It will do you quite the same service, for when the gold was there, you had it not, as you did not make the slightest use of it." A fable is defined as a short tale to teach a moral lesson, often with animals or inanimate objects as characters. These elements combined are the brainchild of the ancient philosopher Aesop. Popularly known for his fables, these works were originally never written, but spoken to Greek adults as anecdotes of wisdom. Only 200 years later were they first recorded and used to teach young children moral values. To this very day, these values have been passed down through the generations, and at this very moment, as the most principal and primitive examples of media that has become modernized for the greater good in a society for which it serves purpose. The United States Constitution and the internationally recognized hashtag of Instagram, for example. Two forms of media at the polar opposite ends of the spectrum, but both relevant mediums nonetheless. For in the transformation in media between the creations of the two, the hashtag can still assert its existence in the principles of freedom of speech the Constitution defines. And the Constitution humbly relates back to it, synonymous as its own form of millennial rebellion to the world, declaring a nation where the people are united under democracy in the pursuit of happiness. In such varying conditions, one might wonder, can you find the significance of an alpha and the effects of modern media in Black America between the story of a man who misused his fortune, a few comparisons of media in the ancient days, and some textbook definitions? I ask that you lattice the philosophical, the theoretical, and the literal for a moment just to see how pivotal the role of alpha is. Modern media and its effect on Black America. This issue is presented in a powerful statement prompting one to pronounce their judgments on the effects of the media they've seen on their people. However, I insist that you look at it as a question. We see the energy of the ripples from the rock thrown in the pond, but when do we stop and ask ourselves who threw it and why? How has modern media been used on Black Americans? What is modern media? What are the effects, and why are Black Americans so easily swayed by it? For clarity's sake, the word modern, when used as an adjective, is to embody being of or relating to the present or recent times as opposed to the remote past. As a noun, it is to be modern or to advocate a practice from the departure of traditional styles or traditional values. The range of modernism is characterized by or using the most up-to-date techniques, ideals, or equipment. For clarity's sake, the word media pertains to the main means of mass communication regarded collectively. It is the plural form of the word medium, a means by which something is communicated or expressed. A medium, in essence, becoming the intervening substance through which impressions are conveyed to the senses, or a force that acts as an object or distance, metaphorically as a substance in which an organism is living or cultured. For clarity's sake, the word effect defines a change that is a result or consequence of an action or a cause. As a verb to cause something to happen or bring about. Inevitably, it is an impression produced in the mind of a person. For clarity's sake, the word Black refers to entities of the very darkest color, owing to the complete absorption of light, heat, and energy. For the stimulation of the members of Alpha Phi Alpha, we have in our pondering now cultivated the sole question of our issue for today. How do we embody being of or relating to the present, departing from traditional styles while using the most up-to-date ideas and techniques to convey the senses, impressions, and ideals in the environments where Black Americans live and are cultured, to cause something to happen or to bring about the change in the minds of our people who are strong-minded, built on emotion, and who so naturally absorb all forms of energy? How do we bury this golden opportunity before some other influence comes along and uses it for its own gain, as we are left lamenting over the poor condition of our own people? Purely by God-given purpose and the realization of not only our 7 jewels, but each and every man united under the name of Alpha, we established that the objectives of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated shall be to stimulate the ambition of its members, to understand how modern media affects our communities and how to use that, to prepare them for the greatest usefulness in the cause of humanity, freedom, and dignity of the individual, to continue our forums, our applications, our voters' registration drives, to encourage the highest and noblest form of manhood, to create a Sphinx magazine that is compiled of stories showing iron sharpening iron, and to aid downtrodden humanity in its efforts to achieve higher social, economic, and intellectual status, to make sure that the gold that is modern media and its influence on Black America is used for those efforts and not for greed, vanity, or the sexual exploitation of our women and our children. All in all, we don't need new ways or a reinvention of the mediums our society holds in such high esteem. We need to revitalize our understanding of them. Men of Alpha must internalize the power of our objectives and their meaning for us and our obligations to the past, present, and future. When we realize the importance and the necessity of the tools modern media possesses in this our 21st century, we as bearers of the aims and the principles essential to the morality of Black America can carry out our purpose. I implore you, brothers, not to bury this modern gold our Black America so desperately needs. Thank you.
Let's give all of these contestants a round of applause. All the way.